KT7 up here. Today, I will review and showcase new Gilgamesh. He is a 100 cost ice unit in the Sword Red Mage group, with Sword Sorcerer and Blade Soul as sub-jobs. His LB can inflict Frostbite and he has a super powerful magic-based follow-up attack for teammates. His new main job is awesome, plus 2 amazing sub-jobs. As the logo of the game, they did him right. These are the items we will go over today. Let's get started. Let's start with his TMR. It is an accessory. The stats are HP 238, Magic 58, Defense 8, and Spirit 6. The ability is a self-buff, gives the user Force Barrier from range 4 to 7, and healing power up 30 for 4 turns. This is a good TMR, especially for the modern tanks. His attack type resistances are 20 to slash, 10 to pierce, 10 to missile and magic. His only negative is to strike, at -15. His ailment resistances are 50 to sleep, 50 to confusion, and 10 to disable. He is a 97 faith unit. It is a good idea to give him as many ailment resistances as possible. Let's move on to his stats. As the first next-gen magic-based DPS, his magic stat is the highest in the game at 462. Agility at 76 with support ability equipped, and luck at 190. His accuracy is very poor, but he has a couple sure hit attacks in his kit. The hit rate of follow-up attacks are based on the unit that initiate the attack, so be sure to gear his teammates properly. As a unit that relies on crit, his dex is good at 214, and he also has some critical rate from both support and master ability. So he crits quite often. He also has access to jump too. It could be useful on some maps. Next is master ability. He gets 10 crit rate, 40 reaction block, and 15 debuff resistance. His 140 upgrades are AoE resistance 15, crit damage 20, and upgrade to his large AoE attack to include CT up small if he lands a kill shot on the targets, up to 2 enemies. Crit rate and crit damage are the 2 things you want to build with Gilgamesh. Moving on to his new weapon. The general ability is slash attack 15. For Gilgamesh only, he gets physical damage reduction 15 when his HP is 70% or above. Magic Man-Eater 15, and slash penetration 20. This is his best offensive option. Magic Man-Eater will amplify his follow-up damage. The crit type is what I recommend. The Blood Sword +1 is another good option with the HP absorption, and 10 Man-Eater. Next is support abilities. Number 1 gives him magic 24%, slash penetration 40, unit resistance 15, and nullifies CT down. With this and his 140 upgrades, he has 15 AoE and unit resistance, and total of 60 slash penetration if he has his sword. This support ability offers a lot. It must be on him at all times. Support number 2 gives him the float status and jump +1. This is situational. His main job reaction is preemptive counter attack with a 50% damage absorption. The proc rate is 30% and has a range of 4 and range height of 1. This is his best reaction. Next is LB. It is a sure hit magic type attack in the calculated Ren shape with range up to 6, range height and area height of 1. Before damage, increase his magic damage by 20% for 3 turns, then deals extra large damage. It also has a 67% chance to inflict frostbite. His LB is the only magic type attack in his whole kit. Everything else is slash based. When he is teamed up with Sephiroth, there are curse and frostbite. A pain to deal with. Now let's go over his buffing abilities. First is group buff. It has the highest priority. Grants the group AoE resistance 25 and wide area guard 25 for 4 turns. And a 7.5k HP physical damage barrier. This barrier can keep him alive for a long time. He will only refresh this buff when the barrier is gone. And he will not multicast this before moving forward. I understand the AoE damage mitigations can be dispelled and barrier can be destroyed. But if your opponent does not have the tools or they're not in range, it will take a couple to 3 hits before Gilgamesh takes actual damage. Now his second priority self-buff. It gives him courage, and courage removal ceiling on hit for 4 turns. The ceiling effect lasts for 3 turns. Plus it activates his 4 turns follow-up attacks for teammates when they use an attacking ability. The coverage area is range 4 and range height of 1. The follow-up attack deals extra small damage, seal courage removal from targets, and Gilgamesh will absorb 100% of the follow-up damage. The hit rate of the follow-up attacks are based on the teammate. The damage is magic-based, go against the target's unit resistance and spirit. If you build up his Man-Eater, crit rate and crit damage, he can easily deal upwards of 5k damage to most units. And he gets to absorb all that damage. Now let's get into his own attacking abilities. The first on the list is a diamond-shaped AoE that can hit up to 6 panels away. It has a range height of 1 and area height of 1. Before damage dispel shell and magic damage reduction effects. Then lower target's AoE resistance by 60% and deals a 2-hit large damage. It also increases his CT small if target is KO'd, up to 2 targets. This is typically his first attack since it has range of 6 and covers a large area. The second ability on the list is a unit attack with a range of 3 and range height of 1. Before damage, break target's magic damage barrier, then deals medium damage. This is a great attack to deal with Cloud. The third attack on the list is the low AP ability. Also a unit attack with range of 3 and range height of 1. Deals small damage and increases CT small if target is KO'd. His finishing move has a CT up attached to it, very good. The last attack on the list is another sure hit. It is a cross-shaped AoE that can hit up to 4 panels away. Also has range height and area height of 1. Before damage, increase Gilgamesh's spirit penetration by 40 for 3 turns, then deals large damage. With this and his LB, he has access to 4 sure hits. It is usually enough to take out most evasion teams. That's all for his main job. Let's move over to his sub jobs. First, his main sub. Ability 1 is Healing Haste. An instant cast, medium heal for self or an ally. Plus a 3-turn self-haste. This could be quite useful for second guild battle attacks, but he might lose out on a buff. He would also use it mid-fight if he can't reach a target. The second ability is a self-buff, lower his hate by 5, and increase his move and jump by 1 for 4 turns. This ability has the lowest buffing priority. His main sub is pretty good, but I think his other sub jobs are better. Next, let's look at Sword Sorcerer. The support abilities are Keen Swordcraft and Windward Swordcraft. Both of these are okay but not the best. The reaction ability is Arrow Guard. The 3 notable abilities are Disarming Slash, which has a chance to inflict disable. The second is Double Arc Slash, a 2-hit medium damage attack. The last one is Shielded and Resistant, a shell and magic resistance up self-buff. Sword Sorcerer is a very good choice. It has multi-hit attacks that can chain shell and magic resistance, which can help against magic attackers such as Soul. Moving on to Blade Soul. The support abilities are Blade Soul Lore and Mind-Body Unity. The reaction ability is Preemptive Revenge. Blade Soul Lore is the support ability I recommend for him. 12% agility, 40 spirit penetration, and 12 crit rate. These are everything Gilgamesh need. The 2 notable abilities are Slate Wiper and Banishing Barrier. Slate Wiper can dispel target's buff on crit hits, which plays really well with Gilgamesh's high crit rate. Banishing Barrier gives the user a 7.5k HP magic barrier and 40 slash penetration. It has lower priority than both of his main job buffs. He would only use it if he has a free 3rd turn. The main reason I prefer Blade Soul is because of other Gilgameshes out there. Banishing Barrier can keep him safe from follow-up attacks. However, Soul can break it easily with his Select 2 attack. That's all for his kit. Let's move on his VC. The Ice Chariot VC Esper combo will arrive 1 week after Gilgamesh. It supports Sword Red Mage, Bow, Fist, and Katana. The stats are HP 342, Magic 146, Dex 46, and Agility 2. The party abilities are Agility 18%, Crit Damage 20, and Magic 50%. The bestowed effect is Man-Eater 15. Hollow party ability for dual content is Reaction Block Rate 24. VC Mastery are Ice Attack 2 and Crit Damage 2. This VC is tailor-made for Gilgamesh. The 46 Dex will increase his crit rate slightly. Magic, Crit Damage, and Man-Eater will boost all his attacks. This is the first Agility VC for Sword Red Mage, and it is not limited. But if you want to run Sephiroth and Gilgamesh together, it is a must-have. The Ice Chariot Esper has 25 silence resistance, which is very valuable for any magic attackers. It also has 20 AoE penetration from the board and 17 agility from its stats. The evocation attack has 67% chance to inflict frostbite. This is a very good Esper for Gilgamesh, but if you want to boost his crit rate and follow-up attack, regular Bahamut is a better choice. Man-Eater and crit rate are my priorities. This Esper is perfect for Howlet though. Next equipment, Truststone and Espers. For a bruiser build, the Blood Sword is the best choice, it can absorb damage. The Flowering +6 is the best choice for accuracy, and it has magic damage up and AoE resistance. If you want to boost his crit rate, go with his new weapon. In the second slot, the Maximilian works well with Blood Sword. And the Army Plate can give him wide guard that cannot be dispelled. The Marshmallow Hat can give him some accuracy and ailment resistances. In the TMR slot, give him Agility or Viga's TMR for the Berserk chance. He can also use Keen Blade for CT manipulation. If you want to focus on his follow-up damage, then I would recommend his new weapon. The Genji Glove in the second slot, and a high agility TMR. Both his new sword and Genji Glove can boost his crit rate. Always prioritize crit rate over crit damage. Genji Glove can increase his damage output by 12% and some ailment resistance as well. Next, Truststone. The abilities here are for the equipments showing below. On the left, I like Shield or Barrier set to give him more healing power. Vital is also a good choice. For the abilities, besides HP and luck, give him as much ailment resistances as possible to avoid random statuses. On the right, either Magic, Agility, or Crit. Magic set is the one I like, it gives him more guaranteed damage on all his abilities. Agility is always good. Crit set in theory can increase his follow-up damage the most, but there is still RNG involved. With Maximilian armor, crit evasion on a unit like Spring June can be above 100. With my Gilgamesh's stats, he would only have around 60% crit rate against her. If my Gilgamesh is fully reincarnated, his crit rate would be around 80%. Magic set can give him more consistent damage, crit set has the potential of most damage. You can give him either ice attack or reaction block instead of healing power. His master ability has 40 reaction block rate, a TS ability will push it to 60. Next is Espers. I like regular Bahamut the most for more crit rate, magic, and Man-Eater. It is the best option for his follow-ups. Ice Chariot works really well with his ice AoE attacks. Ice Shiva can boost his magic damage by 5% and has 5 AoE resistance. Regular Shiva is a great option for accuracy, agility, and more ice attack. Now let's move on to sample teams. First we have Mixed Red Mage and Katana with Sephiroth and SummerGlaciela. Gilgamesh is on Bladesoul sub. His main support number 1 and Bladesoul lore, and his main reaction for the preemptive counter. He starts with 60 spirit penetration, and it can reach 100 after he uses his sure hit attack. His slash penetration starts at 81, and it can be above 100 if he can get a third buff off. Unit resistance at 35, AoE resistance starts at 39 and can go up to 64 with his group buff. And his crit rate is at 111. This setup focuses on Gilgamesh's follow-up damage. Ice Chariot VC has 20 crit damage and 15 Man-Eater, plus Shinryu has another 15 magic Man-Eater. The goal is to have him stay right behind the other 2 units and perform follow-up attacks, then goes into deal huge damage with his own AoE abilities. I have been experimenting with attack-focused VC in the main slot instead of AoE resistance. Putting the hero VC on Sephiroth will give the team more damage, but not enough to justify lower AoE resistance for the party. Wide guard VCs will become more common, and I think it will take over as the main source of AoE damage mitigation. And they are great main slot options for the Guild Battle Reserves units. But for now, I am sticking with the traditional AoE res. Kadaj, Lucielle, Reagan, and Howlet can take the place of Glacy. Lucielle is a very strong support unit that can give haste and heal. She will be the next unit release on GL. The second team I have is the Red Mage and Great Sword team with Spring June and A2. This crossover is only possible for ice and water units. Gilgamesh is carrying Ice Chariot in his sub slot, but it can be replaced by Freezes. Freezes also has crit damage, and it can power up ice attacks for the 2 ice units. And this is the only card that does not support all 3 units. Instead of Ice Chariot or Freezes, the Triple Trick VC can give the team 21 slash penetration in the sub slot. You can have Gilgamesh carry a sub agility card, and let A2 holds Triple Trick. In this build, Gilgamesh has really poor accuracy, he mainly relies on his sure hit attacks. You can improve his accuracy with the Flowering Sword or give his teammates as much accuracy as possible, and let his follow-up attack deals majority of the damage. The third team is the mixed Ice and Earth with Ashen King and Oelde. There isn't any agility cards that support all 3 units, so the 2 generic agility VCs are on the tank. Ashen King has unit attack resistance shred and he can seal barrier breaks, a great teammate for Gilgamesh. You can switch to Lucio VC and Dark Titan to give Ashen King more defense penetration. If you don't have Shinryu or Dark Shiva, Raigan's VC is a good replacement. However, Raigan's card is physical based but it supports both DPS units. The Lucielle card has physical wide guard for Red Mage and Knight, it can take the place of Dark Golem. Next we have a couple of mono ice setups. You can run the traditional 1 tank and 2 DPS team with Oelde and A2. Both Ice Tifa and Aulaia will work in this setup. Follow-up attacks plus a range attacker is really fun. And Tifa plus Gilgamesh can form a Frostbite team. The team at the bottom is 2 DPS and a healer. I don't recommend the healer, tank and DPS setup in the current game. Having only 1 damage dealer isn't really enough anymore. Ice Jaden and Howlet can take the place of A2 if you don't have her. These are the last 2 teams I have for today. Both are Ice Mixed Water. The team at the top is the Frostbite team with Ice Tifa and SummerGlaciela. The VCs here support all the units. Kadaj and Raigan will also work in this setup. If you are running Raigan, consider giving him Lucio's VC in either the main or sub slot. It is slash attack, slash penetration, and unit resistance. The team at the bottom is with young Oelde and SummerGlaciela. There are lots of VC synergies between Spear and Red Mage. And the Spear VCs have very good crit rate and crit damage, they work really well with Gilgamesh. Ice Jaden is an replacement option for Oelde, but the Spear VCs are physical based. Now let's go over the Red Mage group's VC before final thoughts and sample matches. With the Ice Chariot, this group has all the must-have abilities. We are in a transition from AoE resistance to wide guard. The traditional AoE resistance is fading, but it is still a must-have at the moment. Until they release a all-wide guard VC, AoE resistance is not going away. Some notable crossovers are with Katana, Fist, Spear, and Gun. A mixed Fist team with Aulaia is interesting. Her Stag Impact can target 3 units in all directions, it works really well with Gilgamesh's follow-up attack. Anyways, let's move on to final thoughts. New Gilgamesh has one of the best kit in the game. I would put him on the same level as Ashen King and Spring Jim. He is a courage unit that can seal courage removal on hit, and his follow-up attack can do the same. It adds a lot of survivability to your team, it is equivalent to having 3 courage removal sealing units. The follow-up attack also has 100% damage absorption. On top of his HP-based barriers and all-wide guard buff, he is very hard to take down. Offensively, he has most of the newest mechanics. He can dispel wide guard, shell, and magic damage reduction. He also has 60% AoE resistance shred from his sure hit, as well as magic barrier break. His sure hit LB can inflict frostbite, which can be devastating for your enemy's physical attackers. If you are going for him, be sure to build his crit rate, crit damage, and man-eater, he can deal huge amount of damage. Units like Cloud can deal with his follow-up attack quite well with his HP-based magic barrier and shell. But once he is close enough, Gilgamesh can destroy all his damage reduction mechanics. Is he a must-pull? I think if you have Fire Sephiroth and SummerGlaciela, he is. A team with those 3 units is one of the best team we currently have. But you will need to get the Ice Chariot VC as well. It could be very expensive. Both Gilgamesh the unit and the Ice Chariot VC are not limited, and FF8 is coming back with Cypher. If you only have Cloud, Cypher is a better option. Cypher is not on the same level as Gilgamesh, but he does bring a lot of offensive utilities. Alright, let's go to sample matches. The first match of the day is from yesterday's quick pick. It is a mirror match. I am on the left and the bottom of the screen. The map effects are Nullify CT up, all ailment resistance up 25, and plus 200 reaction block rate. Gilgamesh's first action, Group Buff. Giving the group 25 AoE resistance and 25 all-wide guard for 4 turns. Plus a 7.5k physical HP barrier for self. When Veritas's TMR is still a thing. I have a feeling they are going to release some kind of countermeasure in the near future. This map is perfect for a missile unit to pair up with Gilgamesh, but the lack of a next-gen long-range attacker made it impossible. Second action, self-buff. Gives himself courage, and courage removes ceiling on hit for 4 turns. Activate his 3 times follow-up attacks for 4 turns. The follow-up attacks deal extra small damage, seal targets courage removal, and Gilgamesh absorbs 100% of the follow-up damage. My Sephiroth is in range to activate the follow-up attack. Dealt 5.5 KE to enemies glassy, and he absorbed the full damage. Enemies Gilgamesh is hitting me right back. My Gilgamesh is now going for his sure hit LB. Before damage, increase his magic damage by 20% for 3 turns. Deals extra large damage, and 67% chance to land frostbite. This is Slate Wiper from Blade Soul. Cross-shaped AoE that deals small damage and dispel all buffs on crit hits. Since my Gilgamesh is out of AP, he is going for his low AP unit attack. Deals small damage and increase CT small if target is KO'd. Pay attention to my Gilgamesh here. He absorbs over 10k HP from the follow-up. Healing power-up will increase the amount he absorbs. Then he summon his Esper for the finish. I think my opponent is using Maximilian armor. Once his health dropped below 50%, he took a lot more damage. Next is another quick pick match against Light Evasion. All 3 of my units have sure hits, none of them are geared for any accuracy. He starts off with his group buff, giving the group 25 AoE resistance and 25 all wide guard, plus a 7.5k physical HP barrier. Cloud is a unit that could give Gilgamesh problems. If you run him on a full great sword team, be sure to give him a lot of agility and 4 move. This is his courage and follow-up attack buff. He can now seal courage removal on hit, as well as his follow-up attacks. This is Banishing Barrier, giving him a 7.5k HP magic barrier and slash penetration 40 for 3 turns. Since this is a long map, he gets to use it. It is perfect while going up against magic attackers. He now has HP barrier against both physical and magic attacks. He is going in for his sure hit LB. Before damage, increase his magic damage by 20% for 3 turns. Deals extra large damage, and 67% chance to land frostbite. Just like all other magic type LB, it cannot be reflected, that's why Helena took full damage. Helena's attack did not do enough damage to break his barrier. This is his other sure hit ability. Cross-shaped AoE attack. Before damage increases spirit penetration by 40 for 3 turns, then deals large damage. He is using the same attack to finish off Cloud. In a fight he can land 4 sure hits, keep that in mind. Next we have a guild battle match against Sephiroth, Gilgamesh and Lucielle. This team is very popular in guild battle defense. Lucielle is a very good support unit, her select 2 haste frees up TMR slots for the DPS units. My Gilgamesh took some damage, perfect timing to recover some HP with his follow-up attack. Cross-shape AoE attacks are great against wide guard. Lucielle has a nasty sure hit that can cause disable. Be sure to make disable resistance Truststone. It is alright for Gilgamesh to take some damage early in the match. He usually can heal back close to full with his follow-up attacks. This is the last match of the day. Mixed Ice and Earth against Mono Ice. Gilgamesh is a very strong magic attacker, and he works really well with most of the next-gen units. The timing of his release is tough. He is between 2 collaborations. That's all I have for today. Thank you for watching. Good luck on your pulls. Have a good one.